This is Ashley. I just talked to Pernell and sent him a text message of the link.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any word on Gallagher?
Janine is checking now.
Yeah, I just sent a text message to him, so I'm waiting to hear. And Pernell is joining now. He's in the waiting room.
Okay, good.
And the meeting is live now also.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Ashley.
Gallagher was having an issue logging in, Chantel. He'll be here shortly.
Okay. And you know what? I even have a little we've been having some electrical on and off on over here. So if I suddenly go down, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah. The councilman was blaming me for technical difficulties this morning.
Yeah. I was trying to link in, and I was seeing a screen that said, "Host will let you in shortly." And I was just sitting there and just waiting. So, thank you, Ashley, once again.
No problem.
We thought you might have got stuck in the snow.
Stuck in the snow, all right. No, I'm flying high, can't you see?
I see. As soon as Gallagher joins us, we'll give it to 10:05. 1 more minute. So I also want to be respectful of everyone's time. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, December the 1st. Council Clerk, please call the roll.
On the roll, Ms. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Gallagher is absent at the moment. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Conwell.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Do we have any public comment, Madam Clerk?
No, Madam Chair, no one submitted any public comment.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 17th meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councilman Miller. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the minutes? If there are none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
No opposed. The meeting minutes have been approved. Madam Clerk, if you'll read the first item into the record, please.
Resolution number 2020-0250, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
All right, and who's here to speak to this item? Did I see Mr. Bouchahane here?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Albert Bouchahine with the Personnel Review Commission. The PRC recommended approving the class plan changes before you at their November 4th, 2020 meeting. All were prepared by the PRC class and comp staff, who's worked extensively with the Department of Human Resources and Department Management to ensure that they're fully informed of the proposed changes before you. In accordance with the PRC rules, the proposed changes were posted on the PRC's website prior to your consideration today. I thank you for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you very much. Just very quickly, revisions, deletions, how many per?
Madam Chair, there's one new classification being created, one revised classification that's part of PRC routine maintenance, and one classification that we're proposing be deleted. It's been vacant since 2018.
All right. Okay, I'll open it up to my colleagues if you guys have any questions. And let the record reflect, Councilman Gallagher has joined the meeting. Any questions from the committee? Going once, going twice. All right, seems like this is pretty straightforward. So we thank you for presenting this item to us. Does this need to go under second reading suspension, or can we do 3 full readings?
No, Madam Chair, you can follow your normal process.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll make the motion to move this to the full body of the council for 3 readings. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. I believe that was Councilman Miller again. If there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, this will move to the full body of the council. Madam Clerk, will you read the second item into the record, please?
Resolution number 2020-0259, confirming the county executive's reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga
Hi, this is Janine. I'm not sure if Ashley is having technical difficulties, but I can finish reading the item into the record. Resolution number 2020-0259, confirming the county executive's reappointments of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities for the term 2/1/2021 through 1/31/2025.
Councilwoman Brown also froze out too.
Vice Chair would be Gallagher.
Yeah, and he was having some technical difficulties as well. Today's a rough morning for our Zoom. Councilman Miller, can you?
Good morning. Okay, I will take over until people can get back fully operational.
Thanks, Joe.
So I would usually we have Ms. Pomerantz to start by giving us the background information on the appointments. Is Ms. Pomerantz with us this morning?
She's not here, Councilman Miller. This is Janae Holly. I'm here on behalf of the county executive.
Okay, so please proceed.
Good morning, members of the committee. Pursuant to the provisions found in Ohio Revised Code Section 5126, on behalf of the county executive, I submit the following nominees for reappointment to the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities: Cynthia Schultz and Stephen Luciarti. The Board of Developmental Disabilities is composed of 7 members. 5 of the members are appointed by the county and 2 are appointed by the probate court. The board helps to establish policies to assist children and adults with developmental disabilities so they can learn, live, work, and play in our community. Also, the board and the policies it enacts play a pivotal role in providing needed resources and assistance for families who have family members receiving services from this body. And we have both candidates here this morning.
Thank you very much. And do any of my colleagues have any questions about Ms. Holly's presentation? Hearing none, we're going to call upon Cynthia Schultz first and ask if you could please present us a little bit about your background and your experience on the board so far and why you would like to continue to serve in this role.
Thank you, Councilman. I have been on the board for 3 years. I've just finished my first term, and I'm very excited about the second term coming up. My background, I am a recently retired communication executive, and I've worked with lots of downtown businesses. In my personal life, my husband and I have 4 children, and one of our 2 daughters has developmental disabilities, and she is 36 years old. So I have a great deal of interest in this population and helping this population live the best life they can live. And I think you would all be very impressed to know how much progress the county board has made in just the last few years. It used to be that we had a waiting list of 2,200 people waiting with developmental disabilities, waiting to get services. Long story short, we found a way to get services to everyone who needs them. We essentially have eliminated our waiting list, and we are really transforming the culture at the county board to be sure to get people with developmental disabilities the services that they need. So I'm very, very proud of that. We've got other things that we want to do, innovative things like creating housing options for people with developmental disabilities. We all have options where we live in our life, and they need those options too, particularly because inclusion of people with developmental disabilities began 30 years ago. Now we have people like my daughter at the age of 36. She's always been included. She's been trained to do all kinds of things. She works at Heinen's. She can't read, she can't write, but she can be a Heinen's employee. And so we really have to shift our thinking. Those in our population who never had the opportunity to attend school and be involved in the community are older, and we need to continue to provide the services they need. The younger generation that comes out of an inclusion culture has a different set of needs. And so we are really adapting to provide for those needs. I'll stop there and just tell you what a great job Kelly Petty is doing leading this organization through change, and how strong our board is.
Councilman Miller.
Yes.
Madam Chairwoman texts me she's waiting to get in with Ashley, so I don't need to let her in. Okay.
Thank you, Councilwoman Conwell. So I'm back. I'll leave it in the hands of Councilman Miller at this particular moment till we close this out, because I'm not sure where we are. So Councilman Miller, if you'll just kind of bring me up to speed or carry on till we get to the next individual, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And Ms. Holly presented on behalf of the administration, and Ms. Schultz came in as the first candidate and has just completed her presentation. And now I'm going to ask my colleagues if any have any questions.
All right, thank you, Councilman Miller. I'll take it from here. Thank you very much. All right, are there any questions from our council members? And I do, again, apologize. I'm not sure what type of issues we're having. I think it's the weather that's got us having these intermittent power outages, but thank you for your patience during this time. And
so, Madam Chair, I
yes,
do have one question.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, and my question to Ms. Schultz is, I know that the Board of Developmental Disabilities has been in a considerable transition, which resulted from some changes in federal policy that you had to act upon. And my question is whether that transition is now basically complete, or is there more that still has to be done in that transitional process?
That is a really good question. The transition was completed as of January 2020. However, COVID has put a twist to that. The transition is that we, as the county board, can no longer provide direct services. That was ruled a conflict of interest. So all of our agencies and providers must be in the private sector. And we made that transition. It was completed January 2020. There was a lot of concern on the part of family members that in the adult activity centers, for example, that there might be too much transition for them and so forth. It turns out that many of the same providers are continuing to work there. They just have a different employer. And for as many concerns as there were, the way that transition happened, people were extraordinarily pleased with the outcome. And that is really a testament to Kelly Petty and her staff of people who spent so much time talking to parents and families and so forth. So that while that transition has happened, the COVID coming on has made it really difficult for these new providers who are seeing not many people at the activity centers and so forth. So the county board has stepped in to help some of those providers through this time financially. So I think that for all intents and purposes, the transition is complete, but we're in a bit of a COVID mode right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for that question, Councilman Miller. So just a quick follow-up, the continuity of care clearly has been a smooth transition for the start of 2020, but with COVID coming in, what would you say would be the greatest need that the body has been experiencing?
I think the greatest need, there are many needs, but if I think about the greatest need, I think it is good caregivers. Many people are living in congregate group homes, but they're still congregate settings. The providers are, first responders, so they are putting their own health and safety at risk, and their wages are so low. We, as a society, certainly statewide, and these wages are dictated by Medicaid, they are making, Kelly Petty would have to correct me on this, but $10 an hour. Hardly a wage that would make somebody want to come out in COVID and take care of people with developmental disabilities.
So to that point, has there been any discussion around the state providing any type of hazard pay or anything along those lines relative to the essential and I would say frontline workers?
I'm gonna punt this one to Kelly Petty because she's been working on this and she can speak best to this.
Thank you.
Good morning, Councilwoman Brown. Yes, your question regarding wages at the state level or discussions about hazard pay. There, in the last biennium budget, there was actually a rate increase for these workers. That it was going to be a two-phase increase. The second phase does not go into effect until January 2021. So that is still happening. That will bring the average wage, not the starting wage, the average wage up to $13.23 an hour. So other than that, there has not been discussion about wage increase or hazard pay. There has been some discussion about a temporary rate increase for these service providers, just specifically because of COVID or until COVID is hopefully over and done with. But that, as of today, has not occurred.
And just for clarification, the providers for the adults that need care, are the adults that need care, are they in there 24 hours or some of them do they come and go? What is the operation of those in need of services? Are they in and out? I guess that's my main question. If they're under 24-hour care, like a nursing home situation, it would seem that might lead to an opportunity for the workers to be paid a certain wage.
So thank you for that question. There's basically two different kinds of service happening. There's day services, which is just like it sounds, where individuals, regardless of where they live, adults come typically into a facility-based service center of some kind for 6 to 8 hours for a day, and then they go back home. That is what Cynthia had referred to has been really impacted by COVID, that lots of people are not doing that. In fact, there's limitations through state rule that group sizes for that type of services have been severely limited. And we expect that to continue for at least a foreseeable future. So just as a reference, before the pandemic hit, we had about 3,300 adults attending some kind of program like this. Today, we have less than 1,000 that are attending that. So many people are, 2/3 of people are staying home still. And so then the other type of service, which is arguably more concerning to us, is this residential care, which for most individuals is 24/7. We do have some people that are eligible for our services that maybe live by themselves and only receive a few hours a week of drop-in service, and they're able to manage the rest of their time independently. But by and large, people receive 24/7 care. We have about a little over 2,000 individuals that receive that level of service, and they are being, for the most part, supervised and supported by these, we call them direct support professionals, that are paid through this Medicaid rate at the very low wage, as Cynthia said, which is not at all a factor of our transition or the privatization that we went through. This is, for these residential type services, this is has always been the case.
And has that number 2,200 been increased, decreased, or roughly the same since COVID?
Oh, that's roughly the same since COVID. Yes.
All right, and I will. One last point is that I guess it's kind of 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. If they are confined, then the residents are probably less likely to be spreaders, if you will. It's probably the workers that could be the greater transmitters of the virus. And so I'm not sure the rationale or how that hazard pay would be determined by the state in a situation like that. So I just still kind of processing that for me. So I thank you. I thank you, Ms. Petty, and I thank you, Ms. Schultz. I think our next are there any other questions?
I'm sorry, could I make one additional comment, Councilwoman? Just to say that despite the fact that at the state level, there's no discussion about hazard pay for all, our agency service providers, under the circumstances, have done an outstanding job keeping people healthy and safe throughout this pandemic. And they have found ways to compensate staff better for, if you want to call it hazard pay or bonus pay. They have dipped into their savings. They have obtained some other types of government assistance. They've used their fundraising dollars. They've done whatever they can. And so many of them have actually received additional pay throughout this time. It's just that it's not a standardized situation across all counties or all providers, and it's not based on the Medicaid rate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Are there any additional questions, Councilman Miller?
No more questions. Thank you.
All right. Okay, there being none. Our next candidate, I believe, is Stephen Luciarti. Luciarti, if you will state your name for the record.
Nobody gets it right, so that's fine.
Okay, I took a shot at it. You'll state your name for the record and give us a little bit of your background and share with us why you'd like to continue to serve in this capacity.
Sure. My name is Steve Luciarti. In my day job, I am a portfolio manager for Morgan Stanley, where I serve the investment needs of individuals, nonprofits, and corporations. In my volunteer life, I serve on this County Board of Developmental Disabilities. This, if I am reappointed, will be my third term. I had started out volunteering for where my brother goes to work, which is the Rocky River Adult Activity Center, serving pizza and taking out garbage, and served on several nonprofit boards that serve the DD community in different capacities, from fundraising to providing residential housing. And this board was my natural progression. And my connection is my brother. It's actually my fraternal twin brother, Scott, who received services from the county. And it's been very rewarding serving on this board. It's been challenging. We've had some revenue challenges over the years, and it's been great to meet those head on. We've had some budgetary challenges that we've overcome. We've analyzed various programs that we found to be inefficient that we closed down many years ago, and we continue to oversee our operations to make sure that we're still taking a look at what's working and what's not working. And one of the major accomplishments in the recent past was expanding some grant funding that we provide families that may not receive full services of the board, but we do provide some financial support for recreational programs or small items that families in the county may need, where they might not need the full services of the board or may not need larger revenue streams to support their children or their family members, I should say. The other thing we're doing here in the county is we're part of a statewide association of county boards. I happen to represent this county in Columbus on that board. And what I love about that is sharing best practices, because not everyone has it right. And while we're one of the larger counties and sometimes we're met with different challenges or challenges first, it's not always the case. So it's really interesting to hear what other counties are doing to support the community and kind of bring those ideas back here and see if we can learn from that, as well as share our ideas with other counties. And so I found great enjoyment in that. And to echo Cynthia's comments, it's just been a great experience that I'd love to continue for my next 4 and final years if I'm reappointed. The questions asked were very comprehensive, so that was all very hard to follow, but I'll be open to anything anyone might have that might be different.
So you touched on your representation for the counties throughout the state, and that sometimes you learn different things. Is there anything specific that you learned from one of our other counties that you thought would be a good recommendation for here in Cuyahoga County that we've implemented?
We haven't implemented it yet. We're looking at it again because we're such a larger county. Sometimes it's a hard fit. Yeah. But one of the other counties has a process where for residential service providers, meaning workers that work in group homes, there's multiple different service providers, and they all have to draw from the same pool of employees and vet those employees and drug test those employees and train those employees. And then sometimes there's a lot of turnover in that group of people. And so the county had taken on all that responsibility. So they act as the gatekeeper so that it's just one entity doing all that. And then if employees move around, they don't have to be retrained again. They don't have to have their backgrounds checked a second time. There was just a lot of duplication of effort. And I think the most important aspect of that is they can sort of maintain a database of who are the good workers and who are the bad workers, so that you don't have somebody who may have gotten fired from an agency slip through the cracks and go work for another agency. To me, that would be a major benefit of enacting that. But again, we're a much larger county, so you have a lot of moving parts and a lot of different entities that have to provide cooperation. And of course, there's funding aspects to that as well.
Yeah, funding is always a challenge. And one of the things that I've always admired about Councilman Gallagher is his comparison to Franklin County's investment for our seniors compared to Cuyahoga County, which to me is kind of a parallel track when you think about adult services. So I don't know what the investment level might be. I think we probably do better than most. I'm under that impression as it relates to adult services that are provided. Could you lend any insight to that?
Could you say that again?
As far as funding levels compared to other counties, how do we compare? Do you know?
I actually don't. it might defer to Kelly again. If it's the same millage that the county tax revenue, do all counties in the state get the same?
No, Councilwoman, the millage in each county board of developmental disabilities varies greatly across the state. So Steve's right in his role with looking at county boards of DD at the state level. It's very difficult to compare one to another. So just as an example, Franklin, the Cuyahoga County Board of DD operates with a 3.9 mil continuing tax levy that was voted into place in 2005. The Franklin County Board, I believe, has a 7 mil levy. So their tax revenue is much higher than ours. But then, and the ways in which boards of DD then turn around and utilize those funds can vary as well. So as an example, many county boards of DD, I believe about 33% of the 88 counties still directly provide school services, which this board has not done since 2012 was our last graduating class. And as Cynthia Schultz indicated, about 30 years ago, children started being educated more and more in their home school districts alongside their typical peers. And so we phased out of that role, but some counties have not. And so if they still do that, they have to direct a large portion of their county funds towards that effort to just for the schools and the transportation and those teachers and all of the staff involved with that. But many counties are, but many county boards operate with much less than, we're very blessed by the voters here in Cuyahoga County for sure.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from my colleagues for the director or Mr. Luciarti? All right, going once, going twice. All right, sounds like you guys have gotten off pretty easy today. So I thank you for coming, trekking through this storm and joining us on this call. If there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns from my colleagues, then I will make the motion to move this to the full body of the council. And it looks like we are in enough time to give it the full 3 readings. So kudos to the department, the Regional Collaboration Department, Deputy Director Holly and Director Pomerantz. Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Councilman Gallagher. If there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, none are opposed. Thank you all very much. Is there any miscellaneous business from my colleagues? All right, there being none, stay warm, stay safe, stay healthy, and try to stay sane in this crazy world. I thank you all for joining us today and have a wonderful, wonderful week.